You're standing in a perfectly normal elevator. Fluorescent light, faint smell of someone's lunch, the soft mechanical hum of cables doing their job. Nothing is wrong. And then, without permission, your heart detonates. Not speeds up, detonates. Your chest becomes a fist squeezing from the inside. Your vision narrows like someone is slowly closing an aperture around the edges. Your hands go cold and strange, like they've been replaced with rubber props that almost look right. You are not in danger, not. You are in an elevator, and your brain, the 3-pound command center that supposedly evolved to keep you alive, has just declared a full-scale military emergency over nothing. Welcome to a panic attack. And no, it is not in your head. It is literally in your head, but not in the way people mean when they say that. Here is the thing that the just calm down crowd fundamentally misunderstands. A panic attack is not a failure of willpower. It is not a personality flaw. It is not anxiety with a flair for the dramatic. Functional MRI imaging shows measurable documented hyperactivation in the amygdala, the insula, and the thalamus during a panic attack. This is not someone being sensitive. This is a brain region firing like a car alarm that can't be shut off, flooding your body with chemistry that was designed to help you survive a predator, deployed without irony in an elevator on a Tuesday. Let's walk through exactly what your brain does to you, step by step. Because once you see the machinery, it stops having so much power over you. It starts in the amygdala. 2 almond-shaped clusters buried deep in your temporal lobe, one on each side, and their entire job is threat detection. They are fast, they are blunt, and they do not wait for confirmation. The moment the amygdala decides something is wrong, a sensation, a smell, a half-second spike in your heart rate, a thought that arrives at the wrong angle, it fires, not after deliberation, in milliseconds. Before you have formed a single conscious opinion about what is happening, your amygdala has already sent the signal. And here's the part that should make you deeply suspicious of your own neurology. The amygdala doesn't distinguish between a lion and the thought of a lion. It doesn't distinguish between a real threat and a pattern that vaguely resembles one. It detects what it perceives as danger, and it acts. During a panic attack, it is perceiving danger where there is none. Not because you are broken, but because fear circuits can dysregulate, can become sensitized, can start treating your own heartbeat as enemy intelligence. You are not weak. You are running a threat detection system that has tripped its own wire. The moment the amygdala fires, it sends 2 signals simultaneously. One goes up to the hypothalamus, which controls your autonomic nervous system, the machinery that runs your heart, your lungs, your sweat glands, your blood vessels, all the things that operate below conscious thought. The other signal goes down to the brainstem, specifically to a structure in the pons called the lateral parabrachial nucleus. Neurons in this region release a neuropeptide called PACAP, pituitary adenylate cyclase activating polypeptide, which you will never need to remember, but which your body is suddenly producing in quantities that make your breathing accelerate and your heart rate spike toward numbers that belong on a tachometer, not a person. Researchers at the Salk Institute found that blocking just this one neuropeptide in animal models stopped panic-like responses cold. One molecule, one pathway, the whole storm, cancelled. But nobody cancelled yours. Yours is still going. Your hypothalamus has now activated your sympathetic nervous system, and the central nucleus of your amygdala has flagged the adrenal glands. Adrenaline hits your bloodstream, then norepinephrine, then cortisol. Your heart rate can climb to 180 beats per minute during peak panic, which is approximately what it does when you are sprinting from something that wants to eat you. Your mouth goes dry because blood has been rerouted away from digestion toward your muscles. Your hands are cold because your peripheral blood vessels have constricted, prioritizing blood flow to your core. Your chest feels like something is sitting on it because your breathing has become shallow and fast, and the carbon dioxide balance in your blood is shifting in ways that make your nerves tingle and your fingers go numb. You are physiologically preparing for combat in a fluorescent-lit elevator. Now here's where it gets genuinely unfair. While all of this is happening, the part of your brain that could theoretically talk you down, your prefrontal cortex, the structure right behind your forehead that handles rational thought, planning, and reality testing, goes functionally offline. During peak panic, prefrontal cortex activity drops by 40 to 50% on fMRI imaging. Not slightly reduced, cut nearly in half. The part of you that could say, "This is a false alarm, you are in an elevator, you are not dying," has essentially left the building while the alarms are still blaring. The CEO abandoned the ship. The lights are still flashing. No one is at the helm. This is why telling someone mid-panic attack to just think rationally is the cognitive equivalent of telling someone with a broken leg to walk it off. The hardware required for rational thought is not currently available. Please try again later. But here is something the physiology also tells you, which is actually useful. Your amygdala is fast. Your prefrontal cortex is slow. But your prefrontal cortex can be recruited, not during the peak, but in the early warning window, or in the aftermath. There is a technique that works specifically by forcing sensory input through a different pathway to re-engage the prefrontal system. You look around the room and you name 5 things you can see. Not think about, name, out loud or in your head, but with specificity. Not a chair. That chair. That specific ugly chair with the tear on the armrest. Then 4 things you can physically feel. The pressure of your feet on the floor, the texture of your sleeve against your wrist. Then 3 sounds. The naming forces your prefrontal cortex to perform a task, and performing a task pulls it back online, even slightly, even at 20% capacity. 20% of your rational brain is enough to begin interrupting the loop. The amygdala is loud, but it is not immune to being outworked. Your insula, a region tucked inside the lateral sulcus of your cortex, is also running hot during this. The insula processes interoception, which means it processes your body's internal sensations. During panic, it is the structure generating the suffocation feeling, the sense that you cannot get enough air even when you are breathing fine, the visceral wrongness that makes you want to claw your way out of your own skin. The insula is essentially amplifying every bodily signal and broadcasting it at maximum volume. Every heartbeat sounds like a klaxon. Every slightly fast breath feels like drowning. What interrupts the insula is physical contrast, not calm contrast. If you press your feet deliberately hard into the floor, or grip something cold with both hands, or feel the weight of your own body deliberately in the chair, you are giving the insula competing information. Vivid, concrete, real-world sensation that says, this is where you actually are. Not the suffocation story. This floor, this cold surface, this weight. The insula, given enough concrete input from the actual present moment, begins to recalibrate. And eventually, because this is also built into the machinery, it ends. The average panic attack peaks within 10 minutes and resolves within 20 to 30. Not because you did anything heroic, because the neurochemical surge has a half-life. Adrenaline metabolizes. Cortisol clears. Your parasympathetic nervous system, the brake pedal, the rest and digest counterweight, eventually asserts itself. Your heart rate drops. The chest loosens. Your hands warm up as blood returns to your periphery. You sit there, exhausted and slightly baffled, wondering what just hit you. What hit you was a cascade that began with a single misfired signal in a structure the size of an almond, moved at the speed of electricity through your brainstem, recruited your entire endocrine system, briefly shut down your rational mind, and convinced your body it was fighting for its life. Over nothing. The elevator was always fine. The panic attack is not a mystery of the mind or a crack in your character. It is a fire drill run by a system that forgot it installed a broken sensor, and the only way to stop fearing the drill is to know, in your bones, exactly which wire is misfiring.